This is Movies, a podcast about the act of cinema. And with me today, wouldn't you know it? How about this? What a treat for all of the listeners, all the viewers. He's back yet again. It's Hans. Wow, Hans, how are you doing tonight?
Hello, good. I just realized that that movie is called Terrifier and not Terrorizer, which is what I've been calling it for like the past month.
That's all right. You're in good
So
company. Stephen King mistitled it on Twitter when he plugged that movie and said, "Hey, the Terrifier looks good."
nice. Okay.
Wouldn't that be crushing if somebody like Stephen King saw Mass State Lottery and was like, "Hey, the lotto looks good."
The Massachusetts Bingo looks like an interesting movie.
The Vermont State Bingo Association looks fantastic. I just think that's something he's going to every Friday night, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, it's a horror theme show. We're doing another horror theme show. We're talking about a whole lot of different movies this evening, some new, some old, and some familiar favorites, like the VHS series is back. VHS, you know,
hmm
that anthology series pioneered by Ty West and Joe Swanberg and
Yeah.
Adam Wingard.
That is not that at all anymore,
No, it's
huh?
none of those fucking guys. They're done with that. Most of them are in hiding for some reason. I don't know.
Because they don't want things to come out.
I think so. It's either that or you wind up in a Ty West situation where you deliver two of the most disappointing films of the year.
Did you watch Pearl?
Yeah, I did, and I didn't
All
like
right.
that either.
Let's get into that because I have no intention, I don't think.
You know, I don't have a whole lot to say about it. It was a lot more of the, in my opinion, anyway. Maybe I'm just not a fan of Mia Goth. It could be that, but I was not impressed with that one. I did think it was better than X. X was a monumental disappointment considering this guy's been out of commission for years. We've been hoping for his return, saying, "Hey, where's Ty West? We need
Yeah.
Ty West," and he came back, and all the wrong people like that movie. So I'm out on Ty West for now. I'm more in the David Gordon Green camp, to be
Right.
perfectly honest. I'm very excited about his Exorcist movie that Ellen Burstyn only agreed to do so she could pay some college tuition. She asked for the exact amount she was in debt for.
Oh, that's
That's the
sad.
only reason why she's doing that movie. But you
That
know
is.
what? Here's the thing: the more that I think about Halloween Ends, and I've rewatched it since, it's great. It's a masterpiece. It's not as good as Halloween Kills, but
Right.
it's a fun movie. And you know, I watched Christine shortly after, and it's just the same movie. They just wanted to do Christine, the John
Mm,
Carpenter film. His name, I didn't even catch this. Corey's last name in the movie is Corey Cunningham. Arnie Cunningham is the name of the protagonist in Christine. So I also watched Dress to Kill, which is another Keith Gordon film, and he looks like Finn Wolfhard in that movie. He's an even bigger dork, afraid to fuck a prostitute. Dress to Kill is another great movie, and I decided to splurge for my birthday. I am now 32. This is my first episode as a 32-year-old man,
how do you
and
feel?
I
How does it
I
feel? It feels no difference at all.
I feel my body failing me. That's about
Oh
the
yeah.
closest thing I feel. I fail. Uh,
It's,
I watched Dress to Kill on a VHS tape that I got because I splurged and I bought a brand new VCR, working VCR. Where's the VCR remote? I got this big old potato bug style
nice.
remote here, and it's working just fine. It was a clean VCR. You know, sometimes people will put like ketchup or mustard stains on the VCR. The remote is fucking disgusting, but that worked and it looked good in VHS. I also got Blowout. So I was watching Dress to Kill, and I thought, wow, this movie's so woke. I turned it off, and that was it.
Was it an original VHS or was it one of those that people are remaking or re?
No, I don't like that. And I'll tell you why. It comes out a little too clean, if you ask
Hmm.
me. See, I played back because I made my own VHS tapes a couple of years ago when I was on that kick before, because they get into these pathological cycles of collecting useless things. And VHS was it for a period of time. And I started making my own VHS tapes. And I made Good Time. I made Heaven Knows What. I made maybe Blade Runner 2049. I made a couple of different movies. And I decided to play them back on the computer here because I have an extension that plugs it into the iMac. And it's VHS, but it looks a little too clean. The widescreen formatting, it doesn't feel right. to
Hmm.
me. But to answer your question, no, this is the original, and I'm trying to reach over for it right now. I've got a collection here with me. I'm just going to start showcasing my VHS tapes on the show.
Have you started going to garage sales like Mario Cuomo?
No, he's actually responsible for this because he was posting his stacks of VHS tapes, and I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh yeah, I kind of miss doing that." No, we've got an original Dress to Kill VHS clamshell, Warner Brothers.
Oh, nice.
Uh,
That old logo. That's really cool. That old
yeah, there's
Warner.
VHS VCR store stickers on the box, VCR store video store stickers on the box, and I've got a companion for it. We've got Blowout here, so we've got two Brian De Palma films. I was looking at Carrie for a while. And I'll show you one more in my collection. This is a favorite of yours. Not a horror movie, so it doesn't fit the theme of the show. But I wasn't even really aware, and I own plenty of videotapes. I wasn't aware that the VHS cardboard boxes would come in that similar size, enormous box. So I got here an original Year of the Dragon. And I don't know if
Nice.
you can tell, this is quite large, and it unfolds, and they
Oh,
put it in the
cool.
tape that way.
It's like a
So
digipack.
yeah, it's the digipack of the VHS tape. So I checked that out. Also, I decided that this is also not a horror film, although there are horror elements to it. Sling Blade.
I think it's gonna be really cool when you start buying these ones that are just complete.
Let's cut ahead
Really.
100 episodes from now in the podcast, and I will be presenting these to the audience like they're a cool thing. Fox, my copy, my limited edition Fox and the Hound.
Wait, is that North
Diamond, these.
Korean? What the fuck is this currency?
what,
What is
what is
this
your
North
VPN set to right
this,
now, huh?
this is North Korean Etsy? How do I even change that? Anyway, anyway, for 241 North Korean whatever or whatever
Mhm.
that is, you can get all of these hideous boxes that would ruin any type of collection that you're. Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's good. The
That was
plastic's
like
deteriorating.
that was a Disney thing, right? They would just put them on this horrible,
Hmm.
like thick, very soft boxes.
Clamshells. No, well, here's the thing. In the early, and I just showed you two clamshells. Dress to Kill and Blowout are the same kind of boxes that. That was the standard in the early 80s with a lot of companies. But then they were like, this isn't cost efficient at all. Why are we doing this? This is big and obtrusive. Let's put them in the little cardboard sleeves. So they started doing that, and it took them a little while to understand how to do that. Obviously, with the Year of the Dragon one, it's like it's still big. It's like what
Right.
is the point here? The Columbia Pictures ones would also be similarly complicated for no reason. They wouldn't have. So as you can see here, there's an end here. You just slide it out. It's good ASMR for all VHS fans. Um, let's take Funny Girl for example. Where is it? How do you get the tape out of here?
What
I
is
don't
that?
know.
What's Funny Girl?
It's a Barbara Streisand film.
Oh,
So
not
you had
bragging
to
about
open
that
up.
one.
You have to open up the side here, which maybe protects the tape a little longer, but it's too complex for me, from my thinking. Hey, you know who I saw this weekend?
Who?
I,
Vincent
I
Gallo.
saw Vincent Gallo. That's right. Yeah, there was
Do
a
you want to talk
very
about that? What was that called?
a night
That
with Vincent Gallo.
no, the New York group that we talked about with someone. That hipster group from New York. What's it called?
Are you talking about Dime Square?
Yes, your Dime Square event. Do you want to talk about that? Are you allowed to speak about
I'm
that?
not allowed to speak about it,
Oh,
but
okay.
here's what I know because our friend of the show, Kino from the Kino Corner, as he likes to introduce himself to
Yeah.
people, was a part of the event organizing team. You had to sign an NDA to get in. That was Vincent Gallo's request. And he did not leave with the NDAs. So I'm assuming it's maybe safe to talk about it. Well, if this is paywall only, it's definitely safe. But yeah, it was a very cool, like 6 hour event where they screened the Brown Bunny. They screened a Japanese car commercial he did, which was just him making out with some girl on the beach for the most part. A lot of kissing shots, a lot of smooching,
Nice.
and also
Japanese
the
girl?
no, it was a white girl,
Oh,
and it also featured a music video for Honey Bunny, which he shot with Paris Hilton. So it was a pretty limited viewing. I was personally hoping for a screening of Promises Written in Water. This is 2010 film he never released.
Hmm.
That did not happen. He doesn't seem interested in that. He affirmed that during the Q&A after.
So was that what the event was? Just him showing some of his stuff?
He showed the I mean, I don't think he really cared about what was being shown. He showed up and it was supposed to be a Q&A that was conducted by Alex Lee Moyer, who directed TFW No GF and Alex's War. She did not show. There was no word as to why she wasn't there. But there were a lot of like B, C tier online famous people in the audience. I recognized like 8 or 9 people from different podcasts, from different universes. I was like, oh, this is weird. Nobody
No.
knows who I am.
Yeah.
Kino knew who I was. That was about it. Actually, I ran into one of Stahn's guys, and he was like calling out to me. I was like, "Who the fuck is this guy? I don't know who this is." He's like, "Hey, you're LowRes, right?" I was like, "Yeah."
You're like, yeah, I'm LowRes
Oh,
from LowRes Wonder Bread.
yeah. I'm LowRes from Movies, a podcast about the act of cinema. And then I was just making conversation with him. He was at the front of the line because I showed up with Spencer and Mike, who were our special effects team. They came to New York for a day, and our hangout, unfortunately, was like exclusively limited to getting to the event. A lot of stuff fell apart. Anthony Cisco could not go to the event, and he was supposed to meet up with Spencer and myself and Kino. And Kino was hanging out with these dudes from Vinegar Syndrome and a couple of other distributors. All know each other, and they're all under that Vinegar Syndrome umbrella. So we were all heading out to Soho from Manhattan. The trains weren't running right or anything. It was a total mess. And so we were just basically, it was like an episode of The Amazing Race, but they didn't have tickets to the event. So they're just kind of escorting me to the event. We're just
Oh.
chit chatting stuff and taking photos as we go.
Did
I
Anthony
felt
have a ticket?
Anthony did have a ticket. He had to give his ticket away.
Oh.
I did not see Anthony that day. That was unfortunate. I hope everything is well with Anthony. So I ran into Kino. Kino is not a short guy. Kino actually, he was in a turtleneck and a jacket, and he
Hmm.
just he popped up behind the bars of this fence and didn't leave from behind the bars. He was just talking to everybody from behind the bars. It was a very Kino thing to do. And similar to Cisco, first thing he says to me when I get in there, he's like, "Oh, you're tall." It's like yeah.
I get that. I've got, well, I mean, I haven't really met a lot of people that I've only interacted with online, but the couple of people that I've met in person, they're always like, "Oh, I thought you'd be like 5'5." And I'm like, what about this gives you the impression that I'm like a little guy, you
No,
know?
you look about not your height, but you look maybe a little less than your height, which is still tall. And I think you were the tallest guy out of the entire, was
Until
it the
Spencer
entire
got
cast
there.
and crew?
I think Spencer
Mm,
is taller than me. Tim, isn't Tim a little bit taller than me too? I
I think
think.
Tim's just got very good posture. I
Or
think if you just kept your back straight,
yeah, yeah, that's my
you'd
thing. If
outdo Tim.
my hunch doesn't allow me to
Hmm.
wait, hunch, is that what that's called? When you're a
Yeah,
hunchback? Yeah,
sure.
my the
So
ball
yeah,
behind my neck. Yeah.
uh, I didn't get to talk to Kino too much outside of that, and also the after party to the event was canceled because
hmm.
there was a 50-something-year-old man who snuck a phone in and started recording Vincent Gallo, and that he got caught.
That was
They
Anthony Cisco.
they confiscated his phone. They deleted the video, and according to Kino, he had a whole lot of porn that was saved up on there. So that's a little embarrassing.
Mm.
Mm.
So he just ruined it for everyone.
I get. I mean, well, the Q&A, all the meat of it, the real shit, that was done. Um, then they had an after party downstairs. That was not really my scene. That was a very Gen Z kind of. I was surprised at how many like 18, 19-year-old
Mm.
people were in attendance. Somebody during the Q&A said they were 16 years old, and there were some famous faces. I saw Peter Vack of Private Chat and Assholes there. I saw
That's
the
what's up.
Ion Pack. Are you familiar with the Ion Pack at all?
Nope.
Well, they're the quintessential dime square podcasters right now.
Okay.
They all have
So
a very similar look, you know.
let me guess. It starts with a J.
No, we're not gonna
No, no.
Kanye this podcast here. Uh,
Okay. It
Who,
starts with New Yorker.
yeah, well, they're very New York.
Right. Okay.
I saw Marcus Pinland Empire on Twitter.
Nice.
Who else did I see? I feel like I'm overlooking somebody here because there were like I counted like 7 or 8 people that I recognized from the internet that were in the crowd and at the party.
Wait, they go Paul Schrader on their show?
They got Paul Schrader, they got Jonah Hill. When they got Jonah Hill, they got everybody else afterward. And I was not a fan of these guys originally, but after their Paul Schrader interview and then listening to their review of Triangle of Sadness, I actually quite enjoy their show. So my opinion has changed on the Ion Pack. Somebody
Because of Paul
else
Schrader.
because of Paul Schrader,
Which,
well, they said during their follow up episode to the Paul Schrader one that they had to break and he had to go walk to the liquor store to resume the interview or something.
nice.
So that's Paul Schrader, everybody. Yeah.
We should
So
get him on the show. I mean, you're probably gonna need him to come over to your place.
no,
But
I would have to go to upstate New York. He was selling a
oh,
table, and I was very tempted to just make the trip to go get the table. I don't
just
need
so
the
you can meet
table.
him. Yeah, just so you can talk to him.
It was a free table too. He said it was, I think it was a couple $1,000 that table, and he wanted to just get rid of it. He's got some interesting things happening with him, health
Yeah.
wise and woman wise. I guess
Yeah.
always woman wise, but
Yeah. No.
let me think of like the most interesting thing I can probably share from the event. Um,
Did you stay the whole time?
yeah,
6 hours?
yeah. I didn't get home until about 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. I did not stick around for the after party, and I mean it didn't go anywhere anyway. Apparently the real after party was hosted at Lucian Wintrich's house. You know who Lucian Wintrich is?
Nope.
He
But it
was
sounds like a New Yorker.
he's he was the Twinks for Trump guy from 2016. He was like hanging out with Milo Yiannopoulos a lot. Keno stayed at his place.
Oh, okay.
Mm, mm.
Mm.
So
Mm.
it was a
I don't
good
know.
time.
Twinks for All right.
Yeah, and
Twinks for
Gallo detailed 2 of his unmade film, or not unmade, unreleased films, Promises Written in Water, and what the situation with that was, and also April, which I guess was like a noir, a very gritty, crude noir. It's a
Did he
comedy.
talk? Did he talk about continuing to work with Daily Wire?
No, he didn't mention Daily Wire
I know.
shutting at all once.
Good.
I think he forgot.
Good. I mean, nothing against him, but I kind of want him to do different things than what he's allowed to do with them, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, like, listen, I think that whole thing is done and over with. The bonfire lit. I mean, maybe I'm wrong about that. I think they'll at least probably try and take a stab at a Western show if they can acquire the program that Nick Pizzolatto is trying to do,
Mm.
which I think is called In the Tall Grass or something like that. I have no idea if that's on the docket or if that's on the slate or what the situation with that is. We'll see, but I do think that their narrative films are done. This Candace Owens documentary, I don't know if it's even out yet. There's a lot of fire around that because Kanye and Ray J went to the premiere. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I from the New Beverly 35 millimeter print screening of the Brown Bunny, according to Gallo himself, someone uploaded a video online of him talking about how he's working on a film at the moment that he's directed and he wrote the script to. I don't know if those will ever see the light of day, but that would be great.
What the fuck did it? Sorry, I'm very distracted because they updated the IMDb website and it's just very confusing. Have you seen it?
No, are you sure you're not on the mobile version?
Yeah, look, let
All
me
right, let's
share.
take a look at this in real time. How about
So I
this?
wanted to see his, I guess, in production or whatever, but they just did this. Like it doesn't look. I can't just see everything anymore. It,
This doesn't look terrible. Maybe I don't know. I would have to see it myself. Pull up your IMDb. Let's take a look at that. Listen, I don't mind more condensed shit because I had a separate IMDb under my real name, and then somebody merged that with the low res Wonder Bread one, which has a bunch of shit on there, like this fucking the short films and skits, which I made to try and look like I was busy so I could get
Yeah.
some real jobs, and it worked. But I don't want 100 different like 2 minute skits we fucking recorded for Comfort Systems as my filmography director. 90 films. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
You're the Eric Roberts of directing.
Hans, you
Yeah, because
produced 12 different movies? That's really
oh yeah,
impressive.
right. My
Egg
current
from 2014. You've been
my
active for almost 10
but
years.
that series where I think I said a word, and then the
These
best
are
play
all,
where
yeah, yeah.
where I
It's
think I said
all,
wow or something.
you didn't even appear on that. I just used a clip of
Oh,
you from something
well,
else. That you're thinking of After Dark, which I have not even put out yet. And it's kind of like redundant at this point because I'm using the real camera for this show now. So that
right.
might not even come out. I might Gallo that, just watch it myself, for myself.
Yeah. This is I don't like this. I'll get used to it, but I'm used to just being able to see everything. 6'4". Oh
Six
yeah, my
four.
girlfriend saw that and she was like, "Why are you lying or IMDb?" And I was like, I didn't do that. I think
Sure you did.
Laura's did.
Sure
I
you
was
did.
like, I'm not gonna lie about my height again.
Do you recognize these stars? Here's what I don't like about IMDb is you have to pay $20 a month just so you have your face on there.
Oh, is that how much the pro is?
Yeah.
Because I got the 30-day trial, and then after that, I was like, I'm not gonna fucking pay
No,
for
there's
this
no point.
shit for what?
I
Yeah.
don't. I don't even think people really check that the same way that they check. Well, yeah, of course they do. If you're like working on an indie film or something, it's just convenient to link someone to your IMDb. But I think like film fans, if they're digging into the film archive of somebody, of a director or an actor or something, then they're typically going to Letterboxd or they're going to maybe Rotten Tomatoes, Wikipedia. I
Mm.
think IMDb's purpose is there, but it's not maybe the most accurate.
Yeah.
And I saw
I
you were looking into Dennis Franz.
yeah. I wanted to see if he was alive or
Oh,
not.
I believe he's still alive.
Yeah.
I don't know how active. I haven't seen him in anything in about 25, 30 years.
Uh, the last thing they have listed here is NYPD Blue 2005. That's why I was wondering if he was still alive because it's
How
been
old is he? Because he looks.
77.
Oh,
Oh,
all right.
you're right. 77, it says Google.
He looks about 45 years old and everything,
Everything,
which
yeah.
means he showed his ass on that show when he was what pushing 60. Then it sounds like.
Oh, he doesn't actually look that. Never mind. I was gonna say he doesn't look that terrible for his age, but a couple of photos here.
Well, listen, it's more of a lateral
Yeah,
look than anything
because
else. He's
this is
just
him being like young, right? 40s.
yes, ugly and creepy, and now he's just kind of old
Rosacea
and
and
yeah, yeah. All right,
yeah.
that's all right. It's fine. He almost looks friendlier now
Right.
with that big white mustache.
Braille.
What horror movies have you been watching lately?
Well, I watched Terrorizer, which is not called Terrorizer. Uh, Terrifier.
Terrifier 2. Damien
Yes.
Leone's Terrifier 2.
Yeah, that was fun. That was I, there's a lot of things that I really liked. And I think the reason why I liked it more than a movie that we're going to be talking about in a future episode, which is Barbarian, is because I knew exactly what I was going to get. So I already knew that, it's not going to be a rich, complicated story. It's going to be this clown being goofy and violently killing people and a lot of practical effects. And that's what you get. So I enjoyed myself, even though it's a little longer than I would have liked. It kind of drags at some points. Some of the performances were really bad, but it was what I was expecting. So it's not trying to put a what's the saying, veil over your eyes and pretend to be anything else than what it is. So I guess that's why I appreciate it. And I also have a little soft spot for like B movies, and this is I think it should be considered a B movie because of the acting talent
It is
and
absolutely a B film
yeah,
in the true sense. You know what? I was curious about it because of the runtime, because there are no horror films unless they're prestige horror films from
right.
A24 or whomever that run 2 hours and 18 minutes. And I'll tell you what, it didn't feel 2 hours and 18 minutes to me. I thought it was interesting that it had a longer arc to it than
Yeah.
most horror films or even slasher films, I guess, would typically have. It feels like there's an A section and a B section. So I did not mind it. I don't know if it was really my cup of tea personally,
Hmm.
but the effects were good. And I thought it was a direct improvement over that first Terrifier film, which I
Yeah.
did not find impressive at all,
Hmm.
except for the kill. I thought the kill was great in that movie. And yeah, the level of acting is essentially it goes
Similar.
from all right.
Yeah.
So if Terrifier one has like D level acting, this is maybe about a C level of
See,
acting.
yeah. Yeah, the mom was particularly, I don't know if you remember, but it's like, oh no,
Mm.
she's very upset. She's gonna let you know that she's very mad. Uh I don't know how I feel about that Art the Clown character yet. Because it's very well, it's an it's an immortal villain, right? That is just goofy and then just slaughters people in very graphic ways. But I've seen people putting him in the same category as like Freddy and Jason and all
I
those.
think
And
that
I
is premature,
yeah,
in my opinion. I don't think he's a bad villain at all, and I think he's got a very distinct look to him. So I don't mind the character, but I think there's room for development there. Here's the other thing too. Something that I maybe is important about these slasher characters is, and this is maybe what the problem with Victor Crowley was with the Hatchet series. I think if multiple people can use that same character and build upon it and do something different with it, and it still maintains a level of quality, then that's what ultimately produces it as like a slasher villain. That was the thing with the Saw series, right? It didn't have the same
right.
director or writer. It didn't have James Wan and Lee Winnell helming every single installment. And with Freddy, you had a couple of different directors. You had Chuck Russell, I think, might have been in there. Obviously, it started with Wes Craven,
Mhm.
Ronnie Yu for Freddy vs. Jason. They all understood what the character was, did something different with it, and it showed a certain durability that went beyond the creator's talent. So I think
Yeah,
if Damien Leone were to step away from the Terrifier series and someone else were to take care of it for a second, that would be the litmus test, I suppose, in seeing if art has legs beyond his grasp.
yeah, it needs a couple of really bad sequels, just like every other one of those icons, and then a couple of good ones,
Mm-hmm.
and then a bad modern one.
Art in space,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
art in
Art
the
goes to
hood.
hell.
You need one where it's just going to be a cool nerd turned punk teenager on a
Yeah.
motorbike with his girlfriend.
We need his origin story too. So when did he become a Harlequin clown and why
You
is he
need Anthony
immortal? And
Michael Hall saying art dies tonight with a big
yeah.
old baseball bat and beer belly.
Yeah. Did you see the post-credit scene
With Chris
where
Jericho?
yeah, where I mean I guess because the hero of the story cuts his head off and then the girl, like the other clown girl, takes the head away.
Mm-hmm.
And then that woman that was almost murdered on the first movie that appears with her face all fucked up gives birth to his head. That was cool. That was a cool way of I guess reviving a character that died, but you don't really believe that it died. And I was not
It died.
expecting that at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think they might have ripped that look directly from the woman who had her face mangled by the chimpanzee.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Damn, that is a
Should have pulled that
tragic,
off.
tragic story. Always makes me sad when I read it. That chimpanzee should not have been out. He was going senile. He wasn't on his meds. But here's the thing too about all of these animals gone crazy story. Someone reads a story like that, or they read the Grizzly Man story. They watch Grizzly Man and they go, "See, this person should have never been around this wild animal. That's what's going to happen." And yes, that is what's going to happen. But
Yeah.
you're also failing to take away that for like 20 years that chimpanzee was totally fine. The Grizzly Man lived among the grizzly bears for 5 or 6 years. Of course he's gonna get fucking eaten. What else threat is there if you're living among grizzly? It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But for 5 or 6 years, he still managed to live among the grizzly bears, and they treated him as an equal. So no animal is. Oh fuck, that is scary. That's the Terrifier.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I love Play-Doh.
What's the new Flash? God damn it! I wish I was good at quoting things.
Long live the
Long
new
live
Flash.
the new Flash. Yeah. What was the story here? She went to visit her friend, and then her monkey went crazy and attacked her friend.
Ah,
Like
damn,
it's not
there's the
even.
monkey on the far left. Look at that cute little mischievous monkey.
It's not. It's not even. The owner of the monkey, the one that got all fucked up. It was her friend that just came over to visit.
Yep, yep,
Yeah. And then you remember the phone call where
I do.
she's inside of the car calling the police and you just hear the monkey
Hey,
going crazy in the background?
there's the photo of Travis when he did the incident. Not when he did it, but that's what he looked like. He's a big boy.
He's a
Got
big chunky boy.
big old titties.
Because
Yeah, I mean that's the thing too. When they get that old, you can't fucking keep them right because they do get senile and they get crazy. They get agitated.
well, she would drug him too, right?
Yeah, they
What
would
did she
have
give
to
him?
give him Ambien.
Xanax or something?
Yeah,
Ambien, that's what it
yeah.
was. Yeah. Yeah, that's probably not the best thing to do. There's savage animal that could rip your fingers off and your face. Ugh.
Well, nobody wants to part ways with their beloved pet. Although, listen, putting him in a sanctuary and visiting him every weekend or something is a lot better than the police putting fucking 5 bullets in his chest.
Well, do you remember the story of this family? I think it was a family or a couple that had a monkey like that, and they took him to the sanctuary. And one day on the monkey's birthday, they brought a cake to the monkey, but the other monkeys got jealous. So the other monkeys attacked the man, ripped his balls off, ripped his hands off. And do you not
No,
hear
I
about
haven't
this?
heard of this before.
Yeah,
Damn.
so they were like, "Oh, we're gonna bring a birthday cake to our monkey," and then the other monkeys were like, "Well, where's my fucking birthday cake?"
Wow. No, I have
There your
never heard
balls.
this story before.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it.
Please do. Did the monkey survive? Did they leave the monkey alone with his cake? I mean, I don't really give a shit about the human. If the look, you know what you're walking into. You got to know that's always a risk. Don't get comfortable.
Yeah, I'm terrified of monkeys.
I mean, the thing
And
is, I don't know if I would ever want to be around a monkey. People who are just so comfortable and they just, I mean, because monkeys are so chaotic and mischievous, and they even if they're like domesticated, they might slap you around, they might pull your hair, they might jump on you the wrong way, you know, they might just start jacking off, and then your little
yeah,
fun
and
monkey pet
just
is ruined because you realize he's a pervert.
they just splash you with monkey cum. Okay, here it is. This was on 2005. So two chimpanzees broke free from their cage at California Animal Sanctuary Thursday, chewing off most of a 62-year-old man's face and biting his wife. They have visiting their former pet chip Mo at the Animal Haven Ranch. Mo had been removed from their Los Angeles home. Why do you have a monkey in Los Angeles? For aggressive behavior. The couple who have brought a birthday cake to Mo were standing outside his cage when two other chimps, Buddy and Ollie, attacked.
Oh,
He was in critical. Oh, I'm gonna check if he died. A critical condition with massive injuries to his face, arm, and leg. His testicles and a foot were severed. uh,
how? Oh my god! Can you? What did they do? Were they biting through him? Were they just? I mean, I guess chimpanzees have that crazy
yeah.
strength that
Well,
Joe Rogan's
62
always
year
talking
old,
about.
62-year-old man too. So his balls were
Tender
probably very
flesh.
low.
Yeah, yeah.
Very, he was probably wearing shorts. They just pulled him off. But yeah,
Well, he
that's
lost his face. Can we Google this man?
sure. What's his name? James. No.
I feel like the woman who had her face torn off eventually got like a face transplant or something, a second face transplant, and she looks a little more
Well,
normal.
that's the one I showed you.
Yeah.
This
Oh,
she just
that's
looks
the
very
updated one.
she just looks surprised all the time. But before that, it just looks like two slabs of flesh like
Oh,
this.
yeah. All right. Whoa. Okay.
What the
Looks like
fuck
a
is this?
Goomba. Did you see that woman? She looked like a Goomba from Mario. I mean, not anymore. luckily, so it's not insensitive, right? But that's how she did look. And it's
Yeah.
almost normal. You kind of just look like a burn victim
You kind of just looks like one of those My 600 Pound Life or whatever
now.
shows. It was just on a bed. What is
Oh
this
boy.
man's? Let me find this, see if I can find if this man died or not.
I don't think I mean, maybe 2005. He could be dead from natural causes
That's
by
true.
now.
Yeah.
But yeah, Terrifier 2. I mean, if you're into that kind of movie, it's not bad. It's a watchable film. I think I gave it 3 stars on Letterboxd.
I think,
What?
oh,
Uh
oh,
oh.
what the, oh, Jesus. Okay.
What are we looking at here?
Mo the chimp owner. Oh, oh, he was a big fat man. That's okay. Let me
He
see.
was fat, and they still got through him. All the more impressive, if you ask me. All right. Well, he got off easy. He could just get a nose slapped on there. That was him before.
Where's his?
Then he gained some weight.
You got the
Got
monkey there
old.
in the back. Where's the horrible picture with just holes in his? There it is. Oh,
I mean,
he's like,
it's not good.
meh. Just in a constant state of meh. Look at his claws that he has for hands too.
That's not the worst outcome. He could easily get a fake nose put on there like Michael Jackson did.
He's a big boy.
I mean, he was 60 when it happened. What is he going out and getting new pussy? I don't think so. He ain't. That chimpanzee's adorable.
Oh, I think he already got one. Isn't that the
That is
magnets
not.
that they magnets they put in your face so they can attach the fake nose?
I get. Why'd he take it off then? Are you looking for sympathy now? He should be more worried about that fupa in his sweatpants.
His lack of, yeah. Oh, there it is. He's upset because her husband
Uh
looks like
oh.
that.
Wait. No, no, no. Search for Mo the chimp ongoing. So he escaped. Mo the chimp escaped. Do we have it? All
Oh
right.
no.
I hope
Okay, let
Mo
me.
came back. Let's see. What happened to Mo the chimp?
Well, this is from 2008.
Yeah, so it was two different scandals, two headlines with Mo.
Mo the chimp. There's no updates. 2009. Oh, no. Yeah, 2009.
Is
Exotic
Mo
animal
alive?
trackers. Uh,
Is Mo still with us?
oh my God. See, this is a he was living a good life, actually. Look at these pictures of little Mo there. An adorable little monkey with his family.
He kind of looks like John Fetterman there with that beard.
Yeah. Yeah. And see, if they were like cute like that, then it's just like, you know what? I have a
This is
little.
classic Life magazine photography here of this perfect 1950s family.
There's a gun in the back. Ah, it's not a happy ending you're about to read. So if the pictures made you smile, leave it at that.
Take
Oh,
a
this
look
is
at
the
him
one that I had
now.
open. Yeah. I guess the thing to get out of this is just don't have animals and can't don't get a pit bull. Right?
Yeah, I'm not getting a pit bull anytime
No,
soon.
you get
No
a
offense to pit
chihuahua.
bulls.
I can just punt it if it gets if it gets mean, I'll just punt it across the room.
God, my
Not
mom
something that you
has
have to like
two
stick to your
chihuahuas. They're the most annoying fucking
yeah.
creatures on the planet. Never know
Yeah,
when to shut up.
but you're not afraid of them biting your face off, but you can't fit your nose in their mouth. So
Yeah, I
that's good at
guess.
least.
Mm.
You know, what's the way to get pit bulls from unlocking their jaw is like sticking your finger in their butt, right?
I don't think so. I think someone lied to you about that. Oh boy. So we don't have any update on what happened to Mo the chimp. Did he ever return? He was 42 years old when he took off.
Found. Maybe if I search for found.
Mo
Kate
is short for Mogumbo.
very African.
um,
Uh it's missing 42-year-old monkey. God damn.
I'm not seeing any updates here on what happened to Mo the chimp. Maybe he escaped and that was it.
He's just hiding in a cave in somewhere in California, waiting for his next
That's
victim.
the nice ending. The real ending is probably he did not know how to survive in the wild and fucking died.
Yeah, someone ran him
Um,
over. to their truck.
No one's running a chimp over. At least I don't think so. All right, let's get back to movies. This is
Right.
Movies, a podcast about the act of cinema.
Have you seen any
Um,
movies about chimp attacks lately?
Gordy's home, right? We covered Nope. Has your opinion changed on Nope at all since watching it?
I haven't really thought about it at all, to be honest.
I think it's one of the lesser offenders of horror movies this year. You had a very accurate tweet yesterday, which I think Barbarian stoked because
Yeah.
Barbarian, people have been over the moon about Barbarian, and you said it's okay. You
Yeah.
know, it's
It's like it's
eh.
mostly good. No. It's I just feel like, and I was talking about this to my girlfriend yesterday because I was like, I feel like I just can't enjoy anything new. I started looking at my letterbox and I was like, am I just so cynical now that everything I watch I dislike, but everything that's not horror-ish, like I watched Climax, I like that. Uh,
Great
I
movie.
watched I watched Driller Killer. That was fun. I have never seen that before. That was not great, but I really enjoyed it. Phase 4, which is a movie about ants that attack people
Mm, mm.
from what is this from? So, 80 something, 80 74. So that was cool too. I watched the Watchers 2, which is a Charles Band movie from 1990. That was also very fun. Uh, but I feel like because like we've been getting a lot of horror recently, but a lot of it just feels the same.
Yeah.
And my biggest problem with Barbarian is that I like a lot of it. I liked a lot of the way that it was shot, and I kind of liked where it was going. But then, and this happens with a lot of modern movies, they just take a turn to convenience, and they take a turn to, well, now the character is going to be really stupid and is going to make very dumb decisions that no one would make in this situation just so that the movie can move forward. And I hate that. Like that immediately takes me out of the movie, especially if you're setting up someone that is not stupid. And then all of a sudden, at, I don't know, minute 45, they just start making dumb decisions so that they can get caught by the villain or so that they can be in peril. And it's just, it feels very uncreative and very just like everyone's just taking an easy exit and an easy way to end the movie, and that really fucking bothers me.
Well,
And
as far as Barbarian goes, I'll just get this in right now. A big thing for me that I have noticed, and this was also with the Dahmer show, is making the police look like they don't ever do their job
yeah,
whatsoever. And it's a plot convenience. It's like, did you come up with this script in the middle of 2020 where you thought you
yeah,
were saying something, you know? And it's just like, oh man, this fucking crazy bitch who speaks perfect English and doesn't
yeah,
sound drugged up at all, but she's got a little dirt on her forehead. I guess she's a crackhead.
yeah.
You know, it's just that kind of ineptitude that is not believable. And it feels insincere within the story and within the world of that movie. You know, I enjoyed Barbarian for the most part. I gave it a little bit of a higher rating on Letterboxd than you did, but I also thought that if this movie were put out in 2015 or 2014, it would just be a standard average movie, and it wouldn't be this 95% on Rotten Tomatoes
Yes.
pick. I mean, I think this movie's gotten the most well received criticism and reviews of any horror movie put out this year. Barbarian. Maybe I'm
No,
wrong about that. Maybe I'm
92.
overlooking
Yeah.
something, but I feel like that has been the star example of the horror genre for 2022. And I didn't think it was bad. We'll get into it on a future show very soon. But I didn't think it was anything special either. I thought it was inoffensive, and I think that I think they took the wrong approach with the Justin Long character.
Yeah. Yeah. They tried to do a lot of things with that character, and then it ended up not doing anything with everything they set up. Like the
Some of the
whole
character turns just felt insincere, also with that particular character.
Yeah. Yeah, well, right from the beginning, I don't want to get into it because we're gonna have a guest to talk about it, but I just saw it yesterday, so I'm very bothered, and I still have that thing of like, are you fucking But yeah, we'll get into it in a future episode. It's just and this is something also that I've noticed in a lot of recent movies where you set something up that I'm interested in, and then it goes nowhere, or they forget about it and they focus on other things, and it's just like, no, but the good thing was this, like the good setup was this part, and it's completely forgotten just so that the movie can, I guess, work. And that really sucks, really grinds my gears.
Well, why don't we get into the VHS installment that was just dropped, because we did bring that up at the start of the show and then we overlooked it, probably because you haven't watched it yet and you probably
Probably not
aren't going to
gonna.
watch it.
Yeah.
Um, I don't have a whole lot to say about it, but when Shudder acquired the rights to the VHS franchise,
That explains everything. Okay.
well, I don't know if they did it. I don't know if they did it in lockstep with the production company or whatever on that first one, VHS 94, but it didn't really have any standout segments. A lot of people were hyped about it. They were into that Ratma character, monster, and I just was not impressed at all. I really thought it was terrible, and maybe the worst thing that I watched in 2021. It was such a letdown. And I'll tell you what, VHS Viral, which was the end of the VHS trilogy for a period of time, released very low key, no buzz about it at all. By comparison, I mean, that still felt like part of that series. VHS 94 did not really. VHS 94 felt more like the movie Satanic Panic, in my opinion, which was atrocious. And I don't know what the hell Fangoria and I think Cinestate produced that one, unfortunately, before their demise. I don't know what the hell they were thinking, putting money into that and putting that cheap Portland piece of shit out. I hate Portland horror. Portland horror is just, it's the worst, most detestable, aesthetically detestable genre that there is for anything, for writing, for film. It's just unpalatable.
What what's some of those Portland horror movies? Because I don't know.
Well, there's the Satanic Panic, My Best Friend's Exorcism. That was a book that got adapted to an Amazon movie recently with, I forget the actress's name, but she starred in was it Eighth Grade, directed by Bo Burnham.
Mm.
Just anything wacky or M Night Shyamalan is delving into those waters. He's adapting a Paul Tremblay book. That's the one with the you know there's a trailer that came out recently. I forget the title. It's not the name of the book, but it's a gay couple on vacation somewhere with their Asian adopted daughter, and it stars the guy from Mindhunter and Looking.
Mm.
That is based on a Paul Tremblay book, and that would fall into that category as well for me.
Didn't Shutter Scare Package, right? They tried doing the anthology thing before, and it was a big dud too. I think it
They
was called
premiered it
Scare.
on Joe Bob's Last Drive-In, maybe, or that was like the big coming out party for that film. Maybe they dropped it on Shutter before then. That would make
It
sense.
says it was released exclusively on Shutter in 2020, and then there was a sequel.
But I don't think they
Uh,
produced that. I think they just acquired that and then made it their like an original
oh, okay.
retroactively, which
Uh,
might have been the case with the VHS movie. I want to say Bloody Disgusting might have put that out or might have had something to do with that. You might want to cross check that. But anything, and actually, Terrifier is an exception to this rule. Anything that Bloody Disgusting or Fangoria or any of these horror labels, horror as a lifestyle, horror as a community, always shit, always
yeah,
terrible. It's like, how do you not understand?
it's
If you,
so
it should be a slam dunk, but it isn't.
it's all you have. It's all you do. And for whatever reason, they don't understand what works about the things they claim to like. So then you end up getting something that seems like it was written by someone that either doesn't like horror or doesn't get what works about horror. And it's like, wasn't this like magazine about this? Like, how do you put magazines monthly about horror and then you can't figure out what works? Yeah, it's a huge thing too. There's a like a big horror community of people that just identify as horror fans. And it, it's kind of sad when they're just willing to support anything, even if it's trash, just because it's horror, instead of being critical about what they're consuming because they know, because they're horror fans, but instead You got things like VHS, whatever the last one was called, where everyone
They
was
well,
praising it,
yeah,
and
they did VHS 94 and that was horrible. And then this one might be a very slight improvement, but it's also really bad. And I hate to say that because the director of Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City did an installment of it. And it's just like not a single short in this movie is redeemable.
Flying
It,
Lotus did one. I
yeah,
was interested in seeing it just for that because I saw his movie. Fuck, what was it called? And it felt like a Adult Swim type of thing, very wacky, very weird. So that was the only reason why I was going to watch this. But
that was maybe the most watchable, but even that falls apart. I thought if they had just left it as like a failed Legends of the Hidden Temple style episode with the guy who plays Trevor in Grand Theft Auto 5. He also pops up on Better Call Saul and The Walking Dead for a couple of episodes. If they had left it at that and it was just like a gross out, oh, a kid broke their leg or arm or the bone pierced through the skin, that could have been fun and cool and I would have given that a good review. But the fact that they take it into like, of course, you got to go the obvious horror direction. It's like, oh, and then they kidnap the host and they torture him in the basement. And I don't get, oh, fuck this. Over it.
I'm looking at a clip of that. It doesn't look like they put a filter on it to, I
Yep.
guess, make it look like VHS, but that's not what VHS
Don't you
looks
remember
like.
VHS tapes having depth of field when you would shoot with it? You know,
This
it
is
wasn't just all this crunchy fucking sharp image. No, it's, hey, we're going to shoot with an ARRI Alexa and then in Premiere, we're just going to add a VHS overlay. We're not even going to run it through the VCR first. We're just going to do it that way.
that's not
Mm.
what VHS looks like. That that you know what that looks like? Like a VHS app that you can get on your phone for free, or that you
Mm-hmm.
have to pay 99 cents so that you don't get ads every time you export something. So that's very upsetting. All of this shit at the bottom, like the tracking is all fake, and you can tell it's fake.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels very low effort. And I don't want to shit on Flying Lotus because I really like his music and I really enjoyed that movie. And I know he's very creative and very out there with his ideas, but this just seems lazy, you know? It's like if you're
And
gonna
listen, it might not even be his fault. It could be as simple as if you run it through the VCR, it's not going to look good when we upscale it to the 4K streaming or 1080p streaming. And if you, I mean, there's a lot of problems if you're going for a conventional audience where the real thing will be off putting, but then don't do a VHS
don't call it
themed
that then.
anthology.
Exactly.
You know,
Ah,
it would have been better if they just called this something different from the jump, but they acquired that title and now anybody is free to hop in and out and do as they please. And they'll probably make it an annual thing. I suspect that this one probably did as well as the last one, and we'll get another one next year. We'll get VHS 2000.
2000.
Cool.
Until they get to what, 2020 something and then
2022, when people are still using the video camcorder.
VHS. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
we'll go back in time. VHS
Well,
1979.
was anyone still using VHS in 99?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
VHS was still a thing. Yeah,
Okay.
I wouldn't say that people, even DV cams were not that popular. Once the
Mm.
video camera died, people didn't really make the jump to the mini tape or the disc cameras at all. By comparison, I would say that the interest in doing home movies and whatnot obliterated itself by about 50%. And then once cell phones and everything, then people got back into it. But people weren't really feeling the digital, uh, video medium.
Right. Yeah. What are they going to turn it into then? Cell phone?
I guess they're gonna have that point will eventually come. I think by the time we get out of this 2000s aesthetic era, people will be into the hey, I just shot this with my Razor cell phone style of how that's gonna look, style of
No,
video.
no audio because I don't think those had audio. I remember
No,
when I
no,
first
and
moved to
that's
Canada,
another thing too. If you did run it through a VCR and then that was the short, then you're just getting a lot of
Mhm.
on top of your audio, and that's so off-putting.
Yeah, I remember that was the first cell phone I ever bought. So when I was up there, I was
Well, I think the cell phone audio issue is it sounded like it was underwater.
yeah,
It was a
the
lot
microphone was
of
horrible. Yeah,
yeah.
very
It
muffled.
was almost like if you ran a denoise filter over your your audio several times. That was pretty rough going. I don't know. Have you watched anything else as far as horror movies go? I feel like I've rewatched The Exorcist. I don't have anything interesting to say about it though.
I think we've said a lot in previous episodes. I think didn't we have who did we have for that Exorcist episode? Exorcist
Nobody. We
three.
had Jack on for two.
Oh right, that
Maybe we
was
should
two.
cap it off and do a third Exorcist
We
show.
never did. We never did the three. I think I watched it and then we just never got to around to it. Should we do what came out after three? Oh no, we did mention at least mention. I feel like
We
we've spoken about Dominion.
we did on the Paul Schrader retrospective
Oh right,
episode, but we didn't
right.
really get into it. And I watched some of it on Tubi recently, and it was at least the opening was better than I remembered it being.
Hmm.
So maybe that might be something. I don't know. Maybe we just gotta wait till David Gordon Green's Exorcist comes out and get
Yeah,
into
because
that.
I don't think we can have a full on episode of on Dominion. Three is
Three, I think
more
we can.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, three. There are two different versions of Exorcist 3. Have you seen the original work print?
No.
It's on the Blu-ray, and it also got leaked onto like Pirate Bay, which is how I watched it.
Mm.
It was when it was originally just being called Legion, right? And it's quite different from what the finished cut was. And there's a lot of video essayists who have covered this topic much better than I will. But essentially, they had to go reshoot chunks of the movie to give it a more firm Exorcist tie. So they brought back Jason Miller, who plays Father Karras in the original, and had him play that role, even though Brad Dourif shot the entire movie as that character in the Gemini Killer. And instead, in what did get released, he's just playing the Gemini Killer. So he comes up from Jason
Mm.
Miller's dead body, but Jason Miller is still Father Karras. Um, both versions are good. I actually do think my opinion originally was that Legion was better because the Exorcist sequence at the very end of Exorcist 3 feels a little shoehorned in there. But I think on the whole, it's probably a better movie than what they had going on before.
Is that the one where they're testing what's her face with a bunch of electric shit? I remember I just electronic shit. Like I
Oh, no,
remember
no, no. That's Exorcist 2, The
oh
Heretic.
that's two. Okay. Then I don't think I ever saw three. Huh.
3 has George C. Scott, who's the best angry man in the history of film. So
The
you can't go wrong with
saddest
that. Mm-hmm.
the saddest scene from hardcore. I watched a movie called The Grandmother. It's a Spanish movie that's really bad. Um, I'm trying to remember what it was about even. Oh yeah, her grandmother is sick and she's taking care of her grandmother. She's a model, and then her grandmother had a stroke or something, so she can't move, and then she doesn't speak. But when she's not looking, her grandmother gets up, and then she goes to the door and she stares at a door, and then the grandmother is not there anymore. It's very creepy. It's really it's really bad. And at the end, they do a whole Freaky Friday thing where the grandmother gets into her body and now the grandmother lives there and the young model, it's in the body of the grandmother that had a stroke and can't move. Out of nowhere, just a complete like we don't know how to end this shit, so let's say that she's been living for hundreds of years just doing that to I guess her relatives, I guess.
Sounds very Get Out. Wasn't that the
Yeah,
whole premise of Get Out?
I don't remember, if I'm honest. I have to I will have to give that one a rewatch. It's been
Have you ever seen the Curse of Michael Myers, the producer's cut?
no, which one is that?
That is number 6. That's with Paul Rudd.
Oh, no, I don't know. I've seen it, but I don't know if that was a director's cut.
That's the first Halloween movie I think I've ever seen. I think my mom rented it on pay-per-view when I was like 6 or 7, and I always thought it was horrible and boring and terrible. That was I think the first Dimension Films Halloween movie, so it had that slick polish and style, but it was still
Mhm.
using the cast from the '80s minus the Danielle Harris, Jamie Lloyd. They got some other girl and killed her off, but that was Donald Pleasance still. They had the Thorn Cult. I don't
Yeah,
know
yeah.
what the hell was going on with that movie. But there was a producer's cut that was always long talked about. It's like, oh, this movie got mangled by the studio. The producer, however, for the first time ever, the producer's cut is apparently better. The producer's version of this movie is apparently the superior version. So you'd get copies of it passed around at conventions, and then eventually they decided to just put out a Blu-ray of it about 2 or 3 years ago. It's out of print now. It's a rare item, but I've never seen this producer's cut of The
Hmm.
Curse of Michael Myers. I was kind of in the mood to check it out, given that.
We'll find a leak.
It's probably on
Uh,
1, 2, 3 movies. You know what I did wind up having when I was 13 years old? I remember I was at a flea market, and maybe I wasn't 13. I think, when did Halloween Resurrection come out? It was 2002, I think. So I might
it
have been
was
11 or
yeah,
12.
2002.
And I really liked that movie when it came out in the theater. And I went to some flea market that was in a small town in Massachusetts, like Mashpee or somewhere. And somebody was selling a bootleg of it on DVD. You did not see bootlegs all that often in Quincy, Massachusetts, or anywhere else I was hanging around as a boy. So I was like, I gotta get this. I gotta pick this up. So naturally, I bought the DVD. What was interesting about the DVD was it was not the movie that was put out in theaters. It was an early cut of Halloween Resurrection that was called Halloween the Homecoming.
Hmm.
And it opened with a completely different scene that had like Michael Myers as a boy. And I think Jamie Lee Curtis, when she dies in that movie, she splats onto the ground, and they cut that out for some reason. In the movie that came out in theater, she falls into like bushes and dies. Gets swallowed up into
Oh
the
yeah,
trees.
yeah, I remember that. When
Looks horrible.
she's hanging off a building.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Blu-ray Halloween 6: The Curse of Michael Myers unrated producer's cut at Amazon for $70.
Yep, that's right. Because it is no longer in print.
Yeah, or you can watch it in Prime Video too, apparently for $9 or
Nope.
$4.
Nope. I don't think so. I think that's a little too much for me. I can watch the great Halloween Ends for free on Peacock right now. So you better come up with something a little bit better than that if you want me to watch it.
Is it called Halloween 666 producer's cut?
Yeah, they're just getting a little creative with it. When people were like, oh, it's going to be called the Snyder Cut. And then Zack Snyder's like, nah, it's Zack Snyder's Justice League. They
Remember
want to do
when
something different.
remember when 666 was like, ooh, don't
I
say
just
that
think of some
number.
fucking gross fat bitch in Oregon.
Yeah.
Tattoos. Cool. Boy, howdy. Do people still care about Satanism in Costa Rica? Are they afraid of
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. It's a third world. What do you want? That's
Yeah.
that's that's all a lot of people have, just their God, their religion and
You know what
being
movie?
afraid.
You know what movie really predicted that well is Rosemary's Baby. I just watched Rosemary's Baby recently, and all the Satanists in that are fat and old and dorks. And it's like, wow, this is so on. Like, you nailed it. You nailed it. This is completely it. The Hollywood guy Cassavetes plays selling out his wife's womb to
Right.
Satan. It's like, of course, Hollywood is in the mix here too. It's all Polanski got it. He got it.
Yeah.
Um,
When he's right, he's right.
right. So yeah, I was also looking into. I think it was called. And I might be confusing this with the book. Whatever happened to Rosemary's Baby? They made a sequel to Rosemary's Baby in the mid '70s with none of the original cast. They got Patty Duke instead of Mia Farrow.
So
Big
look
downgrade.
what's happened to Rosemary's Baby.
Yes.
That's wasn't there a sitcom called What's Happened?
What's happening? Yeah,
What's
it's a black poor kid sitcom. That's right. That's connected. That's part of the extended
Yeah.
universe.
Well, there's no black people in this movie, so I don't know. I don't know where the connection
No,
is
that's
there.
the remake. They got Zoe Saldana to birth the Antichrist. That's kind of racist.
Wow, this poster is horrendous. Let me
And that was during
share.
the Obama era. You remember when they came out with a Bible? Mark Burnett did a Bible show, and the devil looked exactly like Obama.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Stephen
Look at this
McHattie.
poster.
Mm.
It's so bad. This is worse. I love that the apostrophes are crosses. It's very,
That
very
doesn't
cool.
even make sense. Wow. Did they do a third one called Whatever Happened to Rosemary's Baby, or am I just thinking of the book? Wasn't he in Watchmen and Pontypool?
This guy?
Yeah,
Huh.
I think he was
It's just
the
old.
Elder Night Owl from Watchmen.
Stephen Mac. That's not him. Is
Pontypool,
that him?
Watchmen, The
Oh
Fountain.
yeah, that
Yeah,
is the good. Yeah, that's Pontypool fella. That movie
Pontypool fella.
I've been meaning to rewatch because I remember liking it a lot, but that was like 2010 or something
I
when
bet
I
it
watched
sucks
it.
now.
Probably. Oh, he was in
Damn, he was in
300
300 too.
with that John Fetterman goatee
Yeah,
too.
it's just popping up everywhere. Maybe it was just really popular 15 years ago. Nobody noticed. Did you watch clips, by the way, of that debate he did with Dr. Oz? Dr. Oz is the luckiest fucking guy in the
Yeah.
world. Because, first of all, Dr. Oz on election night was losing. They said the other guy had it, right, for his primary, for the Republican primary. And then they just did a recount the next day and were like, oh, Dr. Oz has 30 more votes than this guy. And then the guy conceded. It was like they got blackmail on him overnight or something. Like, oh, fuck, Oz is losing.
Right.
Oh, pull out the child porn on his
Mm.
PC that we planted there. He's gonna concede. Now this happens, the stroke happens, and you have this fucking. He looks like Hugh Crane from The Haunting. Can we just look at a portrait of Hugh Crane from The Haunting? I feel like this is the exact same guy who's running for Pennsylvania senator or whatever the fuck this election is. I could give a shit about Pennsylvania. I'm sorry for all the profanity tonight, boys and girls listening to this. But yeah, he looks like Hugh Crane from The Haunting 1999, Jean de Bont of Speed fame. There he is. All right, maybe maybe not the placement of the hairs, right? He's got more mutton chops, right? But
Yeah.
you can imagine where someone would come up with that. So, oh God, I forgot Liv. What is her name? Liv, not Liv Tyler.
The other one.
Live, laugh, love. This, yeah, I forgot she died and turned into a happy ghost at the end of the movie.
It's like a screenshot from Casper.
Yeah,
Was
that
that the
didn't happen to
third?
Owen Wilson getting decapitated by the fireplace.
Is that the third girl from Charmed? Is that is?
No, she was like 50 when this movie came out.
Oh, playing younger. Is that Liam Neeson? It's
Yeah,
been a
that's
while
Liam
since I've seen
Neeson,
this.
Catherine Zeta-Jones. This was supposed to be a Steven Spielberg and Stephen King crossover, and Stephen King was like, it was supposed to be The Haunting of Hill House, right?
Which we got later with your friend. What's his name?
Mike Thompson,
Yeah, Mike.
Mike White, Chuck and Buck,
Motherfucker
Mike
Mike.
Mike Flanagan.
Right.
Yes, which I watched Midnight Mass also, and I'm not impressed with that either. It's very going for small town vibes, but from an atheist perspective, which
It
doesn't work.
isn't every single one of his shows kind of the same.
Yeah.
It's like this Dahmer guy. What's Ryan Murphy? I feel
Mm.
like every show you watch, the same issues that every other show has, he just repeats them, and people just don't care because they keep watching them. But I remember when American Horror Story was very popular, and I was like, well, a horror series, let's watch and see what this is. And I would make it like 3 episodes in, and just like, I can't, this sucks. Uh, I feel like this Flanagan guy also suffers from the same thing where he's just making the same show, but with the characters changing a little bit, but it's pretty much the same thing that you get from all the other shows he's done for Netflix.
What he's trying to do with Midnight Mass and things like Doctor Sleep and other properties is he's trying to get that like down home, small town, New England vibe that I think was encapsulated very well in the 1970s and part of the 1960s. You see it a lot in like soap operas from that era or primetime procedural shows, like things like Dallas and whatnot.
Hmm.
Salem's Lot, I think, is the all-time example of that because they just took Peyton's Place and they added vampires, and they give you like a good idea of what the town is like and what the characters in that town are like, what they believe in a 3 hour span, right? And it's the go-to example of that for me, anyway. And Mike Flanagan seems hung up on trying to recreate that, but adjust it for modern sensibilities. Which, if you go to any of those types of towns now in New England, they are occupied by, and I'm taking a lot of jabs at the Satanist Portland horror crunch community, but it's them. It's these ratty, tattooed 20 to 40-year-olds who have no children whatsoever. They go to poetry readings, they drink IPAs.
They
They're,
stink.
they stink. They don't have families. That's the type of person that occupies a lot of these towns now, and you can't get that rich, warm vibe from those people. And again, they're also non-religious, which I'm non-religious. I'm not. I don't give a fuck either. Matter of fact, I bought a videotape, and it came with a pamphlet that said Jesus saves. They're trying to convert me for buying a videotape. I was ready to leave that guy a bad review, putting his junk in my home.
Was it the
You
Barbara
know?
Streisand movie?
No, no, it was not. It was another film. But listen, you can't do that. It doesn't feel sincere. There's a certain vibe to what that is now,
Hmm.
and he's going for that in Midnight Mass. He does not accomplish it. It feels just very atheist. I think a part of that is family values, Christianity, and then the dark seediness that exists under that. If you're just a gross person, right? If you're just a gross young person, your diet is birth control pills and Pabst Blue Ribbon. Sorry, you don't have that. It's fucking dead. You stink, like Hans said.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You didn't get the creepiness of the small town thing, or that even the vibe of what that's like that you could get before. And now, like you said, everything has been gentrified by stinky people, so it's difficult to pull it off when. And also everyone's very ironic too. Everyone's very like 2020s smirky uh like bantery kind of you don't get the warmth, I guess, that you would get in those old
What you
movies
get
anymore. So it's
instead, that's the majority of it. Absolutely. I think that has corrupted the millennial and Gen Z generations, if anything. But what you get in place of what you just said is this sort of like faux sincerity, just sentimental, forced shit. Like they think that they have to be that kind of warm person, and they try too hard. It's just the vibe of Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso is like sentimental. Hey, we're good people. We love each other, sort of thing. And it's like, nah, this is fake. This is not. This does not pass the sniff test for me. It's all that office. What's his name? Jim on the Office. John Krasinski
yeah.
phoniness.
Well, you don't think that a goofy coach that knows nothing about soccer, sorry, football, moves to England to be a football coach, and then he makes it by just being goofy and nice? Isn't that the type of comedy show you want to laugh with your
Never. I
friends?
I regret even seeing a moment of that show.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. I have a
Ugh.
friend that we like soccer, so we talk about that a lot. And every time there's anything new about Ted Lasso, he sends it to me. He's like, "Have you watched it yet?" And I'm like, I have zero interest. I like
He
Jason
still sends it
Sudeikis.
anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I like Jason Sudeikis. I think he was one of my favorite SNL cast members when
I
he
like
was
when he summons
there.
his ex-wife to court to humiliate her. That's what I
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
about him.
But still, like I have zero interest in feel good comedy about
Did
this
you
goofy guy.
did
Like
you see
this.
the report that said he threw himself in front of Olivia Wilde's car in the middle of the night to prevent her from bringing some soup to Harry Styles?
Oh God, that's so
That's
sad.
such like an undignified,
Yeah,
like
just let
dying
her.
relationship thing to do. Like I don't know how you get into that mentality of thinking this. Hey, listen, this woman, your wife, is going to visit the One Direction boy to bring him soup, the family soup,
Yeah,
at
midnight.
3 in the morning. Yes,
Yeah,
at midnight.
just let her go. Damn.
Like, dude, you're gonna have a story that you laid down in front of a car to prevent her from doing that. It's not gonna it's not gonna change her impulse to go do that. Very sad thing. I don't know. He
Yeah.
seems sick and twisted to me too, though.
Well,
I don't
who
know.
isn't in Hollywood, right?
Shia LaBeouf, maybe he seems
Right.
pretty honest to me. John Bernthal just seems like an
I was
airhead.
I was about to mention that. Did you watch that
I
podcast?
did, yeah. I watched it, and I saw clips later on as well because it like recycled into my YouTube feed. And John
Did you?
Bernthal is like the worst equipped guy for a podcast.
Is it just like a very successful guy pretending to be just still a regular,
Yeah,
blue collar
John.
guy?
Yeah, yeah. What is it called? Real Ones.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like
yeah, yeah,
great name of a podcast for an actor to have.
Yeah.
And he wears this like fitted cap like he's 26 and he just says, "Yeah, yeah, true, true, fair enough, true,
Facts.
yeah." It's just like it's almost like that South Park episode where they're like, "How does Family Guy get their jokes?" And it's
Mhm.
just alternating the same 1 to 2 word sentence out of John Bernthal's mouth. Um, but he's fine as an actor. I enjoyed him in Sharp Stick. He's a massive loser. Lena Dunham had 2 movies out this year.
What sharp stick? Is that the one that starts with the twerking
I think so. I don't know.
with the cell phone footage?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. John Bernthal is good in that. They gave him like a Mo Howard haircut, where he's just
Oh,
even more.
no.
And they gave him a retarded son, which kind of fits his like personality in that movie. Lena Dunham plays his wife, his frumpy wife. So that movie's pretty decent ish. But her other movie she put out, Catherine Called Birdie, was actually pretty good. It was a little too long, but it was good.
So she's back?
She's back. The pig is back. I'm so excited for the girls' revival that'll surely come in four
Uh, they
years.
just have menopause. It's just like Sex in
One
the
of them,
City, but
no, it'll be one of them will be they're going to recast the entire thing because they probably hate each other, just like Sex in the City,
right.
right? And it'll be a Mexican, it'll be a black, it'll be a Jewish white girl, and it'll be a trans woman.
Mm. And that's the one.
Girls.
Is that's the one that's gonna fuck the most?
Yep. And Lena Dunham will be like the Bill Murray to their Charlie's Angels. Bill
Uh,
Murray's also in trouble. We're cycling through all the news topics on this
oh,
show.
is he
This podcast is just called the news.
the Hollywood Reporter?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, he. I remember that the article that came out that he like hugged a lady very aggressively or something, and she felt it was sexual.
she felt his erection
You,
poking into her. I
you
don't
think
know
that's
what
still
happened on
happening?
the Aziz film.
That's
Is
that's what happened.
that's what happened?
Yeah, so he according to what I have read, he was just being an old man that hugs and hugged her too aggressively and she felt uncomfortable. So
Damn, the
now,
president does that every week.
yep.
Come on, Aziz is shutting that down. Aziz, you fucking phony.
But it's the
Please,
claw,
the
Aziz sorry.
Aziz the Claw. I'm
But I
sorry.
mean he's in the new Ant-Man movie, which is very sad to
Bill
see that
Murray?
he's yeah.
Oh no. Well, did you
He
see Harrison Ford signed on to do? He's got a Marvel contract now.
well, he
So
was Disney already. Like was
yeah,
this
but I thought he was like done because of the. I mean, with Indiana Jones being his last one, I thought, all right, well, he's too old to play these action roles, but he's taking the place of, um, not Sam Elliott. Sam Elliott was it in the 2004 Ang Lee Hulk. William Hurt. He's playing William Hurt's character,
Mm.
General Thunderbolt Ross. That's very unfortunate.
Yeah, let's see. According to Deadline, Murray, 72, kissed and straddled the woman on
Why'd you
set.
say like Joker at the end of the Joker?
Murray. She was allegedly horrified. He interpreted his action as entirely sexual and filed a complaint against the actor. And he paid $100,000
All
as a
right, so then
settlement.
continue the movie. All right, business as
Right?
usual, right?
Right.
Gina Davis had something to say about him
Oh,
because they worked. Did you ever see that movie Quick Change with Randy Quaid, where it's a bank robbery and her and Randy Quaid are his accomplices, but they're working from the inside? That's a fun early '90s, late '80s movie, Warner Brothers movie.
oh yeah, yeah. I remember his shirt. I was confusing it with my cousin Vinny, but I remember this. Hold up, New York is called in French. Um, what did Gina Davis said? That
Well, here,
unpleasant.
here I'll give you the article right here off top of mind. So apparently, Jack Nicholson, before Gina Davis was famous, would go out to dinner with his agent, who was also an agent to a number of models. So he would just kind of like feel out all these different models and see who he wanted and have his pick. And he slid a note under the door that said, or his agent did, said, call Jack Nicholson. And so she's excited or whatever. Well, she turned Jack Nicholson down over the phone. Can you imagine that? Can you believe that?
No,
In the 80s?
no.
Well, she said she took advice from Dustin Hoffman that said, you know, if you're getting hit on by a famous person, an actor, just say, "Oh, I find you attractive, but I would hate for our sexual chemistry to be disrupted." You know, and I feel like we're gonna work together soon. And
I'm
Jack
sure.
left it at that. Jack said, "Wow, where did you get that one?" When she pulled that on him. You know.
Which sounds like him, yeah.
Yes, of course. Jack Nicholson doesn't need to harass. So he's like the guy who's probably gotten laid the most in the history of Hollywood.
Which
Um,
is why he looks like that now.
yeah.
Drain of life
Mhm.
completely, just.
I have a picture of him saved on my phone of just like crumbs all over his shirt and the happiest look on his face at the basketball court. But anyway, so that was she was just outing actors who had hit on her, and Bill Murray, on the other hand, appeared in her hotel room with one of those big wand vibrators and said, "Let's use this."
80s vibrator, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
back
And
massager back then.
and then what'd she say?
That part is left out.
Okay.
But now he's the bad guy. So everyone's coming out with their Bill Murray
Ah.
stories. Bill Murray's bad guy. The funny one was Seth Green said, "Oh, I was dangled over a trash can when I was 9 years old."
My favorite part about that is that he's such a little guy that he could probably still do
You
that
could
to
do
this
that now,
day.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. He's such a worm.
yeah. I don't know if there's any man under like 5'6" with dignity and authenticity.
Danny DeVito.
All right, there you go. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. True, true. Fair enough. All right, do we got
Hold on. Mac
yeah,
G, the director, said that Bill Murray headbutted him while working on a movie together. This is just making Bill Murray sound awesome. Lucy Liu said that he
mm,
started to hurl insults at her during the rehearsal for Charles Angels.
Charles
Uh,
Angels. Yes, I read that Lucy Liu story years ago. That apparently she showed up late on the set one day, or maybe she didn't know her line or something, and he just railed her out in front of the entire cast and crew.
Good. Be professional. Be on time. What the
Yeah.
hell?
Oh,
What do
she was
you
on
think that
Ally
this?
McBeal at the time. She's the star, right?
What do you think that this big start from the 80s is just gonna have time to wait for your ass to show up? He hated Chris Farley with a passion. He hated Adam Sandler. Bill Murray sounds awesome. I don't know. Still,
Yeah, I think all of the SNL people from that era were probably just assholes, except maybe Dan Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd seems nice, but kind of weird.
because he's Canadian.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's it. I'm
I'm
sure
sure there
Eddie
would be.
Murphy's not the nicest fella either, right?
No, I don't think he's not nice. But I bet you back in the '80s he was not a nice guy. I bet you he was arrogant as fuck.
Well, because he was on top of the world, right? He was the
Yeah, and at
biggest
20
star.
years old, he was like
Yeah,
20 years old, saving SNL, having hit movie after hit movie,
yeah,
comedy specials that are still funny to this day. Yeah, Chevy Chase. Everybody points to him as like the all time asshole. I mean, maybe
I don't know. I always liked Chevy.
I like Chevy Chase.
Even after everything came out with what's his name from Rick and Morty?
Oh, Dan. No, Dan Harmon looks like the. I mean,
Yeah.
listen, people were on Dan Harmon's side when he decided to reveal that and play voicemails on, I think it was Opie and Jim or one of these shows, right?
No, he
Um,
did it at a show where I think he was doing his podcast or something live, and then he did that there first, which is where it leaked. I don't know if he did he do it on like a show like that too?
yeah, he did. He did something on. I think it was Anthony was
Jim and
gone.
Sam,
I
one of
feel it
those,
was either Jim and Sam or Opie and
or
Jim.
Radio.
He was sharing something about that, but yeah, here's what happened at the wrap party to Community, where people, friends and family, decided to show up. They wrapped a season or something, and Dan Harmon took it upon himself to just grab a microphone and tell everyone about how horrible Chevy Chase was in front of his wife and his children. Just like a total piece of shit
Yeah,
scumbag human being, Dan Harmon is. And
yeah.
if you watch, by the way, if you watch his documentary Harmontown, which was about him doing his podcast after he got fired from Community, he treats his girlfriend terrible in that documentary. Nobody wanted to say anything. He got me too eventually, not even for that, for something else. He treats his significant other like a total piece of shit. It talks about how he strives to get tears out of her when he's in a bad mood. Just what kind of sick? They always
Yeah.
look the same as well. Just very wide, small with the grayish, like undeveloped beard.
Or Harvey.
Disgusting. Very New York, as you put it, right?
Right, yeah.
So yeah, just horrible, horrible guy. And Chevy Chase, yeah, I'm sure he was a prick and he was terrible on the sets of movies. But you know what?
One
I
of the
don't.
best leading men, and he would make hits. So put up with it.
It's a little
Also,
more deserved. I love National Lampoon's Vacation to this
yeah,
day.
yeah.
So,
And he was great in SNL at that time too, which wasn't very good, I don't
mhm.
think. Uh and there's a lot of classics that he stars in, so he earned the the right to be an asshole, especially when before the internet, when none of this will be known unless it was leaked on what Variety was maybe around at the time.
It would be someone's autobiography. There would be a
Oh,
small blurb in a chapter of someone's 400-page autobiography that would say, "This bad thing happened." That was it. That's how you would try and cancel somebody back in the 80s or 90s or 70s is you write an autobiography about yourself, and then there's a little snippet there that says something negative. Like Marley Matlin wrote about how William Hurt beat her up or raped her or something. And people just ignored it. He was still in the Marvel movies. So it wasn't that effective as going on Twitter and doing a 12-page thread. Chevy Chase, I think there is a good debate to be had about whether or not he might be the best comedic leading man in a film, period, or most
mm,
consistent, best. Who else could be in that conversation?
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray, his successor on SNL, of course.
Yeah, I don't
I think
know.
Bill Murray is made. I mean,
Jim Carrey, maybe, who had hit after hit in the 90s.
Jim Carrey had a decade, and I would say that Chevy Chase and Bill Murray's careers start late 70s and go to the like aughts. Even look, Vegas Vacation is not a good movie. Chevy Chase is fine in that movie. Bill Murray is still good today because he
Yeah.
doesn't do comedies really.
Yeah, he's that. I just think it's really funny that you're trying to quote unquote cancel someone that's so successful, where if he just stops getting work, he's like, all right, well, fuck it. I'm 80 and I'm a millionaire. Who cares? You know, what are you gonna take from them that they don't already have? And then, when it comes out and it's like, oh, he hugged someone tightly. It's like, is
Mm.
that, oh wow. And
Ah,
an 80-year-old man hugged someone and was inappropriate with his hug, or you felt uncomfortable. He's an 80-year-old man. What do you expect, you know?
just push him over.
Yeah, exactly. That too.
The score
It's
is
like,
settled.
how strong could Bill Murray be? How old is he right now? Let me see.
I'm betting he's like 76, 77.
72. But
Oh,
he looks very frail. Like he doesn't have broad muscular shoulders or anything that looks like he would be able to hold you or anything. It's just like, look at this. Yeah, I don't.
yeah, it seems like a complete overreach. I don't know. Do we got anything else to really go over here? We just passed the 90-minute mark. Damn, he looks like one of the ghosts from Scrooge now.
Like, how are you afraid of this? Look at those liver spots
I
on
mean,
his
I would be
face.
afraid of that. If he came up to me and tried to hug me and he had an erection,
Fair
I'd be
enough.
scarred. It's not that happy Bill Murray in the like Cuban Pete hat and shirt right there, having a good time down in Miami, Florida.
Yeah, no,
You
it's this
know.
one. It's it's disheveled Bill
Oh,
Maher. I don't know what that is. Uh, but yeah, what? Sorry, I think you were closing the.
yeah. We can close out the show on that note. Bill Murray's innocent. Let Bill Murray go do a proper Groundhog Day sequel. I was gonna
Bill
say
Murray,
Ghostbusters,
Mass
but
State Lottery 2.
actually, you know what? No, cancel all these famous people so I can afford them.
Yeah, yeah. Let's get Chevy. Let's do a buddy cop movie with
I
Chevy
would
and Bill
love
Murray.
to work with Chevy. I think Chevy's in the same category as somebody like James Woods, where
Hmm.
they just won't lower themselves to do like a low paying movie. So they just don't do anything.
I don't know. He was in the very excellent Mr. Dundee in 2020, which was about Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah, that was an Hold on. I don't think that was poorly reviewed, though. It was kind
Okay.
of a questionable movie, but it was like a big Australian film, no?
Was it?
I think so.
How sad is Australia?
They don't have any cinema. Hey, Chopper was good. I watched Chopper recently.
Yeah.
Chopper's a fun movie. All right, yeah, that is look. That's the end of movies for this week. We'll catch back up and be covering in the coming episodes. Now this may change, so don't get your hopes up here. We're going to cover William Friedkin's Bug. We're going to cover Heat and also L.A. Takedown. It's original incarnation that Michael Mann tried to do. It was a TV movie. It's on YouTube for free. And we'll also be talking about Heat 2, the book, even though that moment has kind of passed,
Hmm.
right? And we're also going to be doing a show on Barbarian. So look forward to that. That's going to close out October. And that has been Movies for this week. Thank you for listening.